What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Whoops, and I hope you like this video. This is the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, season 13, episode 12. What season are we on? Yeah, season 13, episode 12. So we start off, we have Sutton and we have Kyle hanging out over at Sutton's house shop. She was cutting her roses and talking to her roses when they got there, and we find out that they sort of recap the night. You know, we find out where Mauricio was. Sutton has an issue with the fact that Mauricio wasn't there to support his wife. Of course, we know we're playing up this whole Kyle Mauricio thing. Like later on in the episode, Kyle was like, I don't like whenever me and Mauricio go places, I feel like people are staring at us. I feel like people are looking at every little thing we do, every hand gesture, to see if there's something wrong. Listen, I understand that there was rumors out there about you and Mauricio, but girl, it is not that serious. Like, it ain't that serious. I ain't saying that nobody's looking for anything. I ain't saying that, but it is not that serious, Kyle. You are playing this up way more than I think anybody else is, but that's my opinion. That's my opinion. So, Sutton also lets Kyle know about the whole Anne-Marie thing and her esophagus. Now listen, let me tell you what I'm over. I am over this esophagus story. We have had 2 Real Housewives doctors come down here and confirm what Sutton said is absolutely viable. Also, I feel like Anne-Marie, can we talk for a second? Because this episode really wasn't that exciting, okay? Give me a second right now. As I got to the end of this episode, once again I said, bravo, you have hired a fan. Now, it's going to be harder and harder for you guys to find people who are not fans of the show that still fit a certain criteria. The reason why I know that you are a fan, Anne-Marie, is because in the previews for next week, we see you, well, we saw it in the trailer, where you take that swipe at Crystal and says, well, thank me for making you relevant and exciting. Something to that effect. We know that has been the criticism of Crystal since she's been on the show, that she's not exciting, that she doesn't speak up, that she doesn't do these things. And so I feel like you decided it was going to be your job to activate Crystal, which would then ensure your storyline and ensure, hopefully, your invitation back for next year. And it would activate Crystal and maybe ensure Crystal's storyline. Let me tell you something. Bravo. Y'all need to figure some things out because y'all are hiring fans. And fans are ruining, it's not just the fans, but that's part of the problem what we were dealing with. We have a fan over on Married to Medicine with Sweet Tea. We have a fan on Real Housewives of Potomac with NECA. You guys are hiring fans, okay? And then fans come into the show. Now, I do think that you should come into the show with a certain knowledge, okay? But I don't know where that line is. I don't know where that line is. Anyway, moving forward. We also found out that the ladies are taking their trip to Barcelona now. We know that they usually take 2 trips. Where did they go earlier this year? Where was that they went, y'all? Vegas. How did I forget Vegas? So we know that the season is probably getting ready to wind down. They're going to be in Barcelona for 3 episodes. And then we'll probably get that final, you know, that last final boom episode to wrap everything up. Okay, so we rounded down with Beverly Hills. Real Housewives of Miami, they're filming their reunion today, so we know that they're getting ready to wind down. We probably have only a few more weeks. They're going to Mexico City. So again, same formula. They're going to be there for 2 to 3 episodes, and we'll probably get one more wrap-up episode. So we probably have another month of these 2 shows plus the 3-week reunion, because I'm sure they're going to try to drag at least a 2 to 3 part reunion. Although Miami might be able to pull out a 3-parter. I don't know where we're going to get 3 parts out of Beverly Hills. But neither here nor there. So then we also found out that the Homeless Not Toothless Gala is coming up. Now again, you know, we get it. That was the joke last year. The homeless not toothless. Homeless not toothless. Homeless not toothless. Now, if I'm being honest with you guys, I still don't get it. I still don't understand why that is a focus. But at the same time, baby, I don't think the charity is the issue. I think the name is the issue. Okay? I think the charity is quite, I think the charity is great. I think the name is stupid. Moving forward. So we then see Crystal having a phone call with Garcelle, and of course, what are they talking about? Anne-Marie and Sutton's esophagus, and basically Crystal is um letting just Garcelle know. I was gonna say Giselle, wrong show. Letting Garcelle know that basically when she had met Anne-Marie like a couple of weeks, like before they started filming at some event, she said Anne-Marie represented to her that she was a doctor, a esthetician, anesthesiologist. Child, I said esthetician. That is not a doctor. That's the people that do facials and shit. Okay. Anesthesiologist. Anesthesiologist. Okay. Now we know that Dr. Nicole and Dr. Nicole, Dr. Tiffany, and also I forget her name, but Dr. Contessa's best friend that did the spinoff of Married to Medicine in LA, she's an anesthesiologist, right? So that is very different. And there's no shade and no disrespect to a nurse, to a registered nurse who they work hard as well. Somebody who spent an extended amount of time in a hospital in a situation where I literally could not walk. Like, I'm not exaggerating. Like, I literally did not have feeling in my legs and could not walk. I 100% tip my hat, respect. I do things on Nurses Appreciation Week for the hospital where I stayed. Like, I absolutely understand, right? But it's not a doctor. You're not a doctor. Do I think that Anne-Marie misrepresented herself? I do. And let me tell you why I believe that Anne-Marie misrepresented herself. Because when we were doing research on Miss Anne-Marie, when we found out she was going to be on the show and we did a little research, I found an article that said she was an anesthesiologist. And then I found a separate article that said, and it wasn't Wikipedia. Then I found a separate article that said that she was a nurse. So there was a little confusion amongst the tribe about whether she was a doctor or a nurse. So I believe that she misrepresented herself because the media has picked up on her being in at least one publication. So I can believe that she because she just, first of all, she a liar. They have the production has proved her to be a liar on at least 3 separate occasions between last week's episode and this week's episode. Okay, and Crystal is absolutely right, girl. You are exactly what Crystal said about you. Now, moving forward, we see Dorit and her husband down to the Beverly Hilton getting everything in order for this party. Look, I don't care. I'm glad that the therapies seem to work for the week because we know that they are separated at this time and living separate lives. So clearly it did not work for the long term, okay? It clearly did not work for the long term. However, we saw them working together to get everything in order for this charity for the homeless, not toothless situation, okay? So y'all don't care about none of that. Then we see Crystal meeting up with her brother. I'm not gonna say I don't care about this storyline because I kind of do. But here's the part that I'm a little Here's the part that I'm okay. Walk with me, you guys. Let's rewind. And I ain't had the wherewithal to go back in time and see all of this. But we remember when Crystal first came on the show and her brother was living with her because he got stuck in America because of the Roni and the world shutting down and all of that good stuff, right? Now they're expanding his storyline, which I think the storyline is quite interesting. The problem is I don't think Crystal still gets it. And I think her brother was being very nice in how he said what needed to be said. So, here's the story. Her brother had a fiance in China. Crystal and her mother wanted him to come to America because I guess they wanted him to get out of China. He came, but she couldn't come. There was a problem with her visa. So in the interim of however long he stayed in America, I'm sure it was at least 1.5 years that he was here because I don't think the borders opened back up for at least that long. I mean, I don't have a timeline in front of me, but ballpark 1 year to 1.5 years. In the interim, her brother and the girlfriend broke up. The fiance broke up. So her brother went back to China. Here's what I think happened. I think he went back to China. I think him and the fiance had a very serious heart to heart. I think they maybe even sort of rekindled. I don't know if they back as fiancés, but I think they may have rekindled something. And in the interim, the conversation that was had, or the conclusion that he came to, was your mother and your sister are too overbearing. They never accepted me. And as soon as the opportunity presented itself, they did everything in their power to separate us. Now, you're going to have to either put your foot down, put your big boy drawers on, and put your mama and your sister in their place, or this is just not going to work. So he comes back, and that's exactly what he told Crystal. And Crystal was actually crying. Now, Crystal was like, he said, listen, I'm grown. Now, mind you, the brother is older than Crystal. I am grown. Like, I can make my own decisions and or mistakes. Like life is what it is. I'm going to make some bad decisions. Things may not turn out perfect, but let me make my own decisions. I am grown. Like, y'all don't know what's best or better. Here's the reason why I say Crystal doesn't get it. Because even after what her brother said, now he going back to China, he said he got to get his life back in order, because she said he was like a big pop star over there. So she was like, I got to go back. He was like, I got to go get my life back in order, you know. AKA, I got to go work things out with my fiance, who I'm in love with, who I want to be with, okay? I got to go back to China and get this together. I got to put more work into this situation, and I need you and mama to be okay with it, because in about 6 months, when I post back on Instagram and she got her ring back on and I got, you know, and I'm smiling, I need y'all to be okay with it, and I need y'all to not trip. I feel like that's what he was saying to her. But when it was all over, said and done, what she said was, I still know better than him. I still know what's best for him. But yeah, okay. So that tells me that she still doesn't get it. And if she don't get it, the mama don't get it. And I feel bad for the brother, because they're going to keep interrupting and poking their head into y'all's life. Okay? But the best thing you could do, brother, is what you're doing. Take your ass back to China, even if it's not about that woman. Take your ass back to China, get your life in order, and don't stop letting them people manipulate, you know, your life. You too old. You older than her. Now, the sad thing is, I have more to say about that whole side story than I really have to say about the rest of this episode. But let's get into it. So, I think, are we at the Homeless Not Toothless Gala after this? I don't feel like, do we see, I'm trying to figure out if we have any more conversations. Chat, I don't know. Let me get to my notes. We see everybody getting dressed. Yeah, no, we're at the gala. Everybody's getting ready for the gala, getting dressed. We see Kyle and Mauricio in the car on the way. I like Kyle's hair. I like that wet look. The faux wet, you know, look. I like it. I think it looks nice on Kyle. So while they're on their way, Kyle drops in his lap that she's going to Barcelona with the girls. And she was like, yeah, I mean, giving him a taste of his own medicine, because he just tells me he's going places and he doesn't give me any, you know, he doesn't give me any leeway. He doesn't tell me. Here's what's funny. Kyle, I think you really thought you was doing something. I think you really thought that Mauricio was going to feel some kind of way about you going to Barcelona and not telling him. First of all, girl, you've been doing this show for 13 years. He knows that you are always going somewhere internationally. Y'all, minus the wrong years, this franchise probably is the only franchise that has always used their passport, okay? Unlike the Real Housewives of Potomac that's been to Miami and Austin and whatever, like, y'all stay using y'all passports, okay? Y'all done been to France. Y'all have been to Prague. Y'all done been to Asia. Y'all done been to Jamaica. Now you going to Barcelona. Child, y'all are always using y'all passport. You think Mauricio give a damn? He knows y'all are filming. He knew the trip was coming. He might not have knew the date or the time, but he knew it was on the way. Again, I just really feel like you are playing up this situation. Now, do I think that Kyle and Mauricio are legitimately having marital problems? Yeah, I do. But I also think that Kyle and Mauricio have legitimately had marital problems in the past, and they chose not to use it as a storyline. I think now she's using it as a storyline because what the hell else is she going to talk about, okay? Kyle doesn't have Lisa to bounce things off of and to use that as her, I don't know the word I want to look at, but you know, Lisa's not there to be her shield. The whole storyline with her sister has blown up, and I know she don't even want to broach it. Like, she don't even want to pretend to use Kathy as a storyline, right? I mean, we saw her and her sister talking about her and Kathy mending fences, but I mean, as far as she's just treading very lightly with Kathy. I just don't think Kyle has a whole lot more to give us. I mean, her daughters are grown. Portia's in high school. Probably ain't interested in being a part of nothing and using. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing. That's what you gonna do. Now, again, do I think that there's a legitimate issue? Yeah. Do I think it's interesting that he could show up for the homeless, not toothless situation, but he wasn't there for his wife at the homegoing ceremony for her best friend, who you also knew and were friends with? Maybe. But he's also running a multi-million-dollar business that spans over, multiple countries. I mean, maybe he legitimately had to be out of town. I don't know. So we get to the gala. What I think is absolutely hilarious is that Erica's dentist tried to hit on her, and he didn't even recognize her, because I feel like he really did. He wasn't coming up to her like, hey, I'm your doctor. How you doing? It's good to see you. He was trying to hit on her until Erica said, wait a minute, you're my dentist. And he was like, oh, let me see those teeth. Like, he really tried to play it off. And Erica, I thought, was real smooth about how she curbed him and kept it moving, right? Now, I'm going to bring something up that might not be, like y'all might not think it's all that serious. And in the grand scheme of things, it really might not be. But I'm bringing it up because I just want to know if y'all saw what I saw. Okay? So, everybody is showing up. Crystal's husband is coming later. He got a meeting or some, Anne-Marie shows up with her husband, right? Former football player, whatever. I ain't going down that road. So when the ladies at the table, because Sutton was like, yeah, I got something to say to her, and we need to resolve this before we go to Barcelona because she owes me an apology. And y'all know how they do on these shows where it's Sutton's trip. So Sutton was like, before she go on my trip with me, she owed me an apology. We need to clear this air. So Erica Garcelle, who looked beautiful, by the way, Crystal and Sutton are all standing around. When you go to these galas before they actually... you're like in the cocktail hour. And then they had a silent auction, and then they had dinner with the performance by my girl Taylor Dane, honey. Love will lead you back, bitch. That's my song. I remember when she was on The Masked Singer. I said, yes. Anyway, moving on. So, Anne-Marie shows up, and baby Sutton is like, yeah, I need to talk to you. So, Anne-Marie says to her husband, okay, go to the bar. He was like, don't do that. He was like, if you want me to go, just say I need to talk to them alone. Don't tell me go to the bar. I don't want to think that listen, I ain't trying to put 20 on 10. Okay, I'm really not. So y'all tell me in the comments if y'all think I'm doing too much. If y'all think it ain't that serious. But I don't know. The way he said it just made me feel some kind of way. I don't know. Maybe I just don't like him, because I don't like him. Based on his politics and stuff like that. I'm not crazy about him and some things that he has said on his podcast. So maybe I'm biased. So let me put a pin in that. I might be biased. But if y'all saw it, y'all tell me. If I'm tripping, y'all can tell me you just being biased and you tripping. I respect that. So So Sutton immediately starts going in on Anne-Marie. And so the two of them get to arguing. And then they calm it down. And Anne-Marie was like, Sutton was like, you said that I was lying about my esophagus. And Anne-Marie was like, I never said you were lying. Crystal was like, girl, you did. You said that she was making it up and it wasn't true. So, production rolled that beautiful bean footage and showed it again. Then they brought up the eating disorder. Anne-Marie was like, I never said you had an eating disorder. Crystal said that. Baby, that's when Crystal was like, you lying bitch. Now look, I was here for that. I was here for Crystal getting this woman all the way together. I was. I'm going to be honest. I was here for all of it. However, girl, you a liar. Listen, Anne-Marie, every time you said what you didn't say, production rolled it back. Then they said, well, we were sitting there for 2 hours and all you did was talk about Sutton for 2 hours. Baby, you do know that production showed the timestamps of when that conversation started and when that conversation ended and how many different times you brought up Sutton. Every time somebody new came over to the table, you brought up Sutton. Baby, to the point where Crystal was like, Garcelle had to pretend like she wanted a drink just so we could get away from you because you wouldn't stop talking about Sutton. So when Garcelle went up to Sutton last week. And I know people was like, oh, Garcelle was, because Dorit was like, Garcelle is just trying to start stuff. Garcelle is starting stuff. When Garcelle went up to Sutton last week and said, girl, Anne-Marie is coming for you. Now it makes more sense, right? When you know that literally Anne-Marie was sitting over on that couch talking about Sutton for 2 damn hours. When Garcelle went up to Sutton, that was not an exaggeration, right? She is coming for you. She is making you her storyline. Clearly, you and Crystal. She can't come she's not going to come for Kyle. One, because Kyle was her way on the show. Not saying they're friends in real life, but y'all know how they do on these shows. Kyle was how she came into the show. Two, she's not going to come for Kyle because Kyle's the grand dame. Like, why would she come for Kyle? Kyle, we know what it is with Kyle on this show. You ain't been there long enough to come for Kyle. Like, you ain't really trying to take that calculated risk, right? Now, people can come for her, but you going to have a fully loaded clip, right? So, when Crystal finally exploded, I understood. Again, in context. Because you are literally lying. Everything you said, you are now lying and say you did not say. And on top of the fact that you are now lying and say you did not say all of the things that we know you said, now you're trying to put me in it and say, not only did I not say it, but girl, you were the one that said it. And we already know that Crystal has her history with eating disorders. She's been open about that. And so I feel Crystal when she was like, I feel Crystal. You know what I'm saying? So I understood. So anyway, we get to the gala. We hear Taylor Dayne. Anne-Marie and her husband was like, yeah, I don't know. When they scanned the crowd, everybody knew who Taylor Dayne was except for Anne-Marie. Now, Anne-Marie, why you ain't know who Taylor Dayne is? How you don't? First of all, maybe you too young. But you can't be that young. Girl, you know who Taylor. Stop playing. You never heard it? Your husband never? I'm questioning that. Especially your husband. But neither here nor there. At the table, at the end, the ladies were like, well, what are we going to do? Like, we need to work this out so we can, have a great time in Barcelona. So the next day, we have all of the phone calls, right? We have all of the phone calls. So Kyle calls Anne-Marie and says, girl, you really need to make this right. Like, she did tell her you owed, Sutton an apology, but she did tell her you really need to talk to Sutton, because Sutton told Kyle, look, she owed me an apology, and honestly, until I talk to her, things ain't gonna be right on this trip. So then when it came up with Crystal, Anne-Marie was like, I don't owe Crystal nothing. I ain't talking to Crystal. I can go the whole week without speaking to Crystal. Now, that's one thing that me and her can agree on, because, baby, when I tell you my ignore game is strong, I could be sitting at a table with 4 people and not be talking to 3 of them, and I am good. They will be more uncomfortable than I will. I promise you that. So, I'm just telling you what I know. So, and Sutton even said, well, girl, I appreciate your apology, but we ain't done. Like, I need to see some things before I know other things that need to happen. Sutton ain't stupid. Sutton know that that apology was some bullshit, because she already gave a bullshit apology at the damn gala event. Now, we also see Erica and Crystal talking, and basically they talking about the same thing, the damn esophagus. And Erica's thing was, listen, I'm be honest with you, I really don't care about none of it. I'm just glad it ain't about me. I am just glad that for once it was not an Erica Jane situation, okay? And I will see y'all hoes in first class, okay? I will see y'all in the Delta Sky Lounge, okay? I will see y'all when it is time to get on that flight. Me and my team, we have to do what we do for Erica Jane, okay? We got to get it together. Anyway, that was the episode. You guys let me know what y'all think, and I will talk to y'all later.